Brillmeyer is attempting to substitute the beams for the exact same beam that failed, which is kind of why we're in the boat we're in. That beam was not on the approved list of materials or their alternates. Schweitzer is using an approved beam per the structural engineer standards. The second reason that we are going to go with the second bid is Brillmeyer has several negative reviews, I guess lack of a better term, from past jobs in similar types of construction where the jobs have ultimately failed. So the estimate, the engineer's estimate for the project was right around $300,000. So this is still under that original estimate.
Did we check that Schweitzer?
They
got a good record?
Yeah, they've done
Okay.
this type of
Yeah,
work.
we can't afford to have another problem.
Yeah, we need to.
The whole point, or the reason we're in is because of
Because for
the
what
types of
it-
materials and the original architect that did that design. It wasn't the,
Does the original architect have insurance to help us cover something?
it's been too long, unfortunately. So, that is our recommendation. Deepak, do you have the resolution?
I do.
You wanna read it? Oh, but you can.
I'm just gonna read by title, Resolution 2019. You want me to read it by entirety?
Just.
Title.
Yeah.
A resolution approving a contract with Schweitzer Construction Company for the Bechtel Park Pavilion Restoration Project and dispensing with the second reading.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second, any further discussion?
I think it's
Yeah,
a responsible thing to
Oh,
do,
yeah.
go lowest and best,
Yeah.
not just lowest.
yeah. We've been in trouble with that before. Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarber?
Aye.
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
And there will be some insurance payments. I don't know how much insurance is gonna cover. We have coverage for this type of incident. Some of it was structural, there was some snow damage, et cetera. So we'll get, insurance will pay as much as they can on it.
How long is it gonna take Schweitzer to fix that?
I'll talk to Tracy. They probably won't start construction until April, May, just because of lead time on the materials. So, I mean, they're going down and changing out the posts, they're doing all kinds of work on that structure.
When did the roof collapse in the snow?
Well, it's a combination of two things. The beams that held up the roof started to delaminate, they lost their structural integrity, and they started to rot out. And then the weight of the snow, there's several heavy snowfalls that hit that particular structure over the years, and that in turn too has cracked some of the beams, which is why it's now closed. And it's not gonna be open for rentals, obviously, until the repairs are done.
Okay. Mr.
I have a
Bickford?
question.
Yes.
As you have the Memorial Day Parade with Silverton Deer Park in Sycamore Township and always end up at Bechtel Park, what will you do about that? Just go to another?
Well,
I think we can always go,
Shelter?
we're gonna have to determine whether or not we're finished by then, and I don't know, that's why I was asking that question,
Yeah,
because
it's
I'm not.
it's in May, so if they don't start
Yeah.
construction until May, they're
We'll have to definitely modify.
well, we could always end at a different pavilion,
Or we could
end-
other than the main
There,
one.
or we could actually end here.
Yeah.
Could end here, or we could just
Yeah.
continue,
not. Oh, and I
continue
think
around
we've
the
done that
corner.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
Okay.
it all depends
Go back
where
to
we're at on that.
to 3 or
Yeah,
whatever,
that's true.
or 2 if it's
Yeah.
done.
thank you.
Okay, Bickford,
Defeasance of bonds. So this is a term you're probably not familiar with. This goes back to a 2010 issuance for the construction of Reagan Drive. At the time, we
which
borrowed
drive, I'm sorry?
Ronald Reagan
Reagan.
Drive
Okay.
for the FBI. At the time, we borrowed an estimated $2 million because that was the estimated cost for the road construction. Two things happened. Number one, right-of-way and property was donated to us. That reduced our costs. The construction costs came in much less. And we had other sources to pay for that. So when the bonds came in, we used what we had to for construction. There was an amount left over. Since these are tax-deferred bonds or tax-free bonds for the investors, we can't just spend them on something else. They have to go for that project. Because the project cost was less, we are still on the hook for the bonds. So what we're proposing to do here is what's called defease them. That means take them and set them aside to their call date, and then they will get paid off early. Instead of us just taking the TIF money that comes in and paying off the debt over the next 20 years, it's better to get that off our books in the defeasance state and then take that revenue in as a cash building to use on other projects that we can use it on. So the resolution I have before you here defeases those bonds, preserves their tax exempt status for the investors, and allows us to take that TIF money and reinvest it into the district, something we could not do with these. Those bonds were specifically issued for that road construction. So I have a resolution authorizing defeasance of a portion of the road improvement bond series 2010, authorizing execution of an escrow deposit agreement, and authorizing the purchase of state and local government securities to fund an escrow fund.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarber?
Aye.
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weaver?
Aye.
Deepak, I have that one.
I've got 2 copies, we gotta send one to
They're
the
signed, so
auditor.
you got the signed one?
Yeah.
Then let's go for it, it's yours.
Yeah.
This just gets this debt off our books earlier and allows us to
It's a
use
good
these
idea.
funds for other things. One of the only times you'll ever see that happen. Maybe not. But it's debt off our books and allows us to use that cash value for which other pieces, like parks and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, fire department, yeah, it's always fire department. It's
It's a
always
low blow,
fire.
chief.
What are you gonna buy tomorrow, chief?
Mr. Bickford, you're still up.
The Board of Elections, as you know, uses this room for their elections twice a year, and every 2 years we have to sign a new contract with them. I'm assuming, I think we've worked out our past issues, they've taken better care of the building now, so I'm assuming we want to continue with that relationship, as this is Sycamore G and K, I believe. It's 2 precincts here, about 900 voters. Do you think Deepak has a resolution authorizing this contract if you want to continue?
Yeah, we have a resolution number 2019, resolution authorizing a rental with the Hampton County Board of Elections and dispensing with the second reading.
Motion.
Motion.
I think I have
You have a motion, you have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
How much is it?
We give it, no, we don't charge them for it.
Just checking.
I would only say this, that, I don't think this is a very good place. It's not accommodating in presidential elections for people to pull up. They can't park, it's hard to get in, it's hard to get out, the lines are long. I mean, I would rather see them go across the street to, I don't know if, what's the church across the street?
Mount Carmel.
Mount Carmel, they used to have it there, and this, the parking lot's huge, everybody can get, it's easy to get in and out of. I don't know if that's not a better option to force them to go across the street versus coming here. It's just, in a presidential election, this is a bad place to come vote. You just can't park. And so, I mean, I think maybe we should consider that before we approve the facility for the next 2 years. Because we're gonna have, in 2020, we're gonna have the same problem.
We have to act on this right now, or can we table this?
No, you can table it. I mean, at the end of the day, you just tell the Board of Elections to go find another spot.
Well,
You know,
I don't want to do that automatically.
I think we should, yeah,
I can make a motion that we table the resolution, for further
or just,
investigation.
you don't have to table it, just pull your motion and
I'll,
you withdraw
I'll
your
withdraw the
motion.
yeah.
then we'll consider it tabled, and I'll reach out to the Board of Elections and.
Let's see if we can work with them on trying to find a place that's easy, that's still accessible for the residents to go vote without having to be stuck trying to find a parking space here. It's been impossible on
I agree.
even your elections, just
Well,
has.
you really have 2 places. You have Kenwood Baptist, and you have Mount Carmel. I mean, those are really your 2 logical options for where we are, but we'll reach out to the Board of Elections and we'll talk.
It used to be at Mount Carmel, and it was very
Well, I
accommodating
think-
for the voters.
And Mount Carmel said, we've had enough, it's time for you to go. But that's why they came over here.
Yeah.
So,
I don't want to kick them out until they have something.
Let's see if we can explore another option before we,
we can do that.
okay. Purchase orders over $2,500.
I have 2 for your consideration. Bethesda Healthcare, this is for the firefighter physicals, amount of $5,189. I have a second one, this is the Bureau of Workers' Compensation, amount of $11,665. This is for our premium. What they did last year was, you used to pay in advance. Now they've switched it up, and now you pay in the rear. So we have to true up our payroll from 2018, and the true up on us was $11,665.00.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarber? Aye. Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weaver?
Aye. Okay, the only other thing,
Before you guys go on, and I might have been over the computer, did you pass the resolution for Bank of America?
Yes,
yes,
Okay.
Yes.
I know I presented it.
Yes, we did.
Okay. Yeah, so that's right, it was first, okay. All right, I just wanted to make sure.
Any other business? We do have a date change on the BZA meeting going to February 19th, Tuesday. I assume that's because
President.
President's Day on the Monday?
Yes.
Okay. That answers, Jay, that answers your question back there. Jay? We moved that to Tuesday.
Thank you.
Okay.
Tom,
Yes.
I might cancel the, I'll let you know by Thursday, the park meeting. There's really nothing right now on the agenda
Okay.
for February anyway.
Okay. And then we do have a public hearing at 6:30 on Thursday. So if that's all anybody else has anything else?
I'm still working on changing your JEDs. I don't have positive confirmation yet that everybody can switch, so you're still on for that Thursday for the
Okay.
JEDs, 4:15, 4:30, 4:45, before your county engineer did, so that, 4:15, 4:30. So if we can change it, we certainly will to the 6th, but I don't have confirmation yet, so I'm just working on that still.
Motion to adjourn?
But just one
Oh,
other,
not ready yet?
just one other
Okay.
thing. So I'm on the board of the Hamilton County Emergency Management Homeland Security Agency. And they are asking us to put their link on our website, which I think is a good idea. Greg, can we
Sure.
work on that and see if we can't get the link on our website? There's a lot of fairly useful information and for residents to be able to access that would be great, so. And I don't have any other business, so if we make a motion to adjourn.
I'm so moved.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?